Hello guys, you're welcome to Ride On Academia. We are still on our series on the matrices, and today we're going to be looking at how we can use our matrix to solve simultaneous equations. All right, now if you can look at the board, we have a simultaneous equation where we have three variables, right? Our x, y, and p. We have three variables and we are asked to find the value of all the variables, okay, the numerical value of these variables. So I'm going to be using the matrices, okay, in solving this equation. Are we together? So the first thing we do in our matrix is that we take in, now you can see that all the variables carrying x are arranged first, those carrying y are arranged next, and then those carrying p are arranged last, right? So what our matrix will be looking like is that we're going to be bringing in our coefficients, okay, the coefficient of each variables, arranging them, okay. So for our x, okay, our x, the coefficient here is 1, the coefficient here is 3, the coefficient for the last one we have what, 3. All right, now for our y, which is the next column, right, the coefficient for our y is 3, for our y here is 4, and then lastly is 1. Lastly we have our p, right, the coefficient for our p is 2, the coefficient for our p in our second row is -4, and then lastly the coefficient for our p is what, +2. So we have this, and then we'll be multiplying, okay. What we do is that since we have deducted the coefficient, we still have to recognize our variables, okay. So we have deducted our coefficient. The next thing we do is to bring in our variables in a separate matrix, okay, x, y, and p. Now our answer will be equating it to our answer also in a matrix, okay. So we'll be having 13, 14, and 11. So this is how we have arranged it. Now if you can see this, when we have two brackets, it means we're multiplying, right? Now the way we do in mathematics is that we do something like making the unknown variable subject of the formula, right? So since this is our unknown variable, I'm going to be making it subject. All right, so if this matrix was multiplying this, if it is going over, it will be dividing, right? Like I said, when we are saying division, it means we can also be saying the inverse. Are we there now? So in taking the division, right, we can also say that our x, y, and p, which is our unknown variables, we can equate it to the inverse of this matrix, right? It's going over now, so it's the inverse now. The inverse of our 3 by 3 matrix, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, -4, and then 3, 1, 2. So the inverse raised to power -1, okay, multiplied by our answer, which is 13, 14, and 11. So this is it. So that means if we want to solve this, we have to get the inverse of this matrix, right? As you can see, our inverse raised to power -1. So we have to get the inverse of this matrix, and then we multiply. When we multiply by this matrix, okay. So from our previous videos, right, we've been able to deduct the inverse of this particular matrix. So I won't be solving for the inverse, I will just be taking the inverse straightly and then be applying it in this equation. All right, so from our previous video, this was the inverse that we were able to deduct, right? So we're going to be applying that inverse, okay, and then be multiplying by this matrix which contain our answer, right? So we are having 13, 14, and 11. So this will be leading us to metric what, multiplication for our x, y, and p. All right, so that means if we want to multiply this matrix, okay, like I said, this row contains the first since we have done a transpose, okay, while we were solving for inverse, there's a place where we have to transpose our cofactors, right? So that transpose now will make our columns to be rows, okay, and then we know that our x was having the first column, right? So if we transpose like we did in our transpose of cofactors, right, when we transpose, it means our x will be the first row, okay. So it means when we multiply the first row and we add like we do in multiplication, our x will be for the first row, our y will be for the second row, and then our p will be for the last row, okay, because we have transposed. All right, now so for our x, to get the value of our x, we'll be taking -1/5 and be multiplying by this, all right, by 13 plus 1/15 multiplied by 14, and then lastly we have plus 1/3 multiplied by 11. All right, so to get the value of our x, When we expand, okay, expanding our bracket, to be having minus times 13. So we are having minus 13 over 5, right? For this, we are having plus 14 over 5, okay, over 15, sorry, over 15. And then lastly, we are having plus 11 over 3 when we expand this bracket. So now we're having fractions with different denominators, right? So we have to get our LCM for the denominators, right? So our LCM will be giving us 15. So in order to make this one fraction, we'll be having minus 39 plus 14 and then plus 55. All right, so when we add, okay, we'll be having what? 30 over 15, and that will be giving us 2. That is the value of our x is what? 2. All right. Now we're going to be solving for the value of our y. All right. We're solving for the value of our y. So the value of our y is when we multiply the next row, right? So our y will be having 3 over 10 multiplied by 13 plus 1 over 15 multiplied by 14, and then lastly minus 1 over 6. Okay, it's supposed to be a plus, but because we are having a minus, right? So plus and minus will be having minus, right? So plus minus 1 over 6 multiplied by 11. Okay, so let's expand. This is 1 over 15, right? Yeah, so let's expand. We'll be having 39 over 10, then we'll be having 14 over 15, and lastly we're having minus 11 over 6. So we're going to be taking LCM again for 10, 15 and 6. Okay, our LCM will be giving us what? 30. So when we have the 30, divide, we have 3 times this. So 3 times 39, right, we'll be having 117. Then we divide 30 divided by 15, right, we have 2, and then 2 times 14 we have what? 28. And then lastly we have 30 divided by 6, we have 5. 5 times 11 will be having minus 55. When we add and subtract, will be giving us 90, right? That will be giving us 90 over 30, which is our denominator. 90 over 30 will be giving us what? 3. That is the value for our y is 3, right? Then lastly, we are going to be solving for the value of our p, okay? Like we say, when we just multiply, the same strategy, right? For the third row, we are multiplying. We'll be having 3 over 20 multiplied by 13 minus, okay? We're having a minus sign now. So because we're having a minus sign, we're supposed to have a plus, right? From we're adding, but because of that minus, we'll now be having a minus, right? So minus 2 over 15 multiplied by 14, and then lastly we have a plus 1 over 12 multiplied by 11. All right, so in order to get that, let's expand. We have 39 over 20, we have minus 28 over 15, and then we have plus 11 over 12. So we're going to get our LCM for this. So quickly, we're going to get our LCM for our denominators, right, since they are different. So we're going to be dividing through. We want to get our LCM for our denominators, right? For our denominators, we are going to be dividing through. We have 20, 15 and 12. So the idea is that we keep dividing till we arrive at 1. All right, so we want to divide. You can see that 2 is common, so we can divide by 2. We have a 10. 2 cannot go into 15. It will lead us into decimal, so we'll have to bring our 15 down, and then 2 into 12. Okay, we have 6. Now the next 2 can still divide. Okay, so 10 divided by 2, we have 5. Divide by it's not possible. All right, it will be giving us decimal, so we're bringing it down, and then 6 divided by 2, we have 3. All right, now we can divide by 3, right? But 5 cannot be divided by 3, so we're bringing down our 5. We can have this as 15, and then lastly we have as 1. Like I said, the idea is to keep dividing till we arrive at 1. All right, without breaking any into fraction. So now the next one we'll be dividing by is 5. 1 1 1. So we are through. We multiply this, okay, these factors. So 2 times 2 times 3 and times 5 will be having what? 60. So our LCM is what? 60. So adding our fraction, we have an LCM of 60. 60 divided by this first denominator, we have 3. And 3 times 39, we are having 117, right? Now there's a minus here. The denominator is 15. 60 divided by 15, we have 4. 4 times 28, we have minus 112, right? And then lastly, 60 divided by 12, we have 5, okay? Then 5 times 11, we have plus 55, all right? So we're going to be adding together, and that will be giving us 60, okay? So the value we'll be getting is 60 divided by this 60, which will be giving us what? 1. Therefore, the value of our x and y, right? The value of our x, y, and p, our x, y, and p is equal to what? I think we got a 2, right? We got a 2, a 3, and what? 1, respectively. So we have been able to use metrics to solve what? Simultaneous equations. So with this, we've come to the end of matrices, all right? Don't forget to like this video if you haven't. Subscribe to our channel. Click on the notification button so that when we drop new videos, you'll be notified immediately. And if you have any comments, you can leave that with us in the comment section, right? We'll see you in our next class. Thank you.